There you go, Darla. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Roberto Garcia. I'm the publisher for Get Fresh Books, and we are here to celebrate Darla Himeles' full-length collection, Cleave. I just wanted to begin with a couple of housekeeping items so that everybody kind of can understand what it is that's going on. Yes, you're all muted. I have done the master switch and muted everyone so that we don't have to worry about any background noise or anything happening. Okay. What'll happen is our readers will be unmuted as they go along, but then at the end of the evening, I'll unmute everyone so that we can congratulate Darla, applaud, ask some questions, and have a nice conversation. Right? As you probably know by now, the evening will be emceed by Elizabeth Catanese, affectionately known as E.
Okay, great. We're going to get started now. So I am Elizabeth Catanese. I go by E, and I'm really excited to be emceeing this evening. I'm going to start just by giving everybody a sense of how the structure of the reading is going to go. So we are going to have some poets who are going to be reading first, and I will introduce each of them. And I'm going to introduce the wonderful poets this evening by giving something they've said that I found to be interesting, and then a few lines from one of their poems. And right now, Darla is going to post into the chat more extended bios of each poet so that you can learn more about them. Okay, and then after that, we're going to do a fun giveaway where you will have a chance to potentially win Flesh Enough, a signed copy of Cleave, or random stuff from me. That's the third prize possibility. After that, we're going to have 4 more poets who are going to read. There will be time to get a drink to toast to Darla, and Darla will then read her poetry, and we'll do our toast and celebration. At that point, Roberto will unmute and people can celebrate Darla for this wonderful accomplishment. Okay, so I'm going to right now introduce Roberto, who is the Get Fresh publisher of Cleave and a fantastic human being. So in his recent interview with Elizabeth Velasquez at The Rumpus, Roberto writes, "I suppose truth-telling, beginning with our own selves, helps us survive our situations. But more than that, it sets us on the path to creating the conditions under which we can start thriving. We don't want to just be surviving all the time. We want to thrive and develop and flourish, and then bring our people with us into the light." And this is from his poem, This Moment Right Now. "A man kneels somewhere, cupping his tears for the loneliness he feels. Though he's surrounded by the world and a finch in a tree singing for a lover as the buds on its branch pop into leaves that will flourish." Let's welcome Roberto.
Oh man, it's not about me. Thank you so much, E. That was beautiful. Thank you. First, I just want to say, none of this Get Fresh Books would not be Get Fresh Books without so many of the people who are here in this room right now, constantly giving me encouragement and having conversations. I seem to just remember all of us becoming a Get Fresh crew, I think at AWP Boston, when Jesse gave us this lovely moniker that has stuck, right? And so I don't know, I'm humbled and super proud to know all of you. You're just so talented, and like I said, I just can't wait to be standing, to continuously stand in the light of our friendship, but also into whatever it is that poetry and literature is going to do and be for us going down the line. Darla, I congratulate you. I'm so happy and excited for you. I remember just seeing different versions of this manuscript and seeing what has become today. And the way that you've shared it with the world, and what you want for this book to be to whoever picks it up and reads it. Um, it's just, again, an honor and a privilege to be along for the ride. Right. Um, I'm going to read this poem called Variation on a Theme by Roomie. And it's from my latest collection, excuse me. Variation on a Theme by Roomie. Start with patience, with longing, oh longing, thorny vine growing from the dirt of my mind. I begin again in a pinprick, a trickle tightly running down your body's slender pockets, each one enough for my mouth, my fingertips to catch on, to wait patiently within. Oh, to love by longing, patiently, forming stars in the roof of my mouth, kissing starry cinders into a wine we devour from cupped hands. Beloved, be lunatic, be savage, be a wink and a grin sent across an ocean. Be thirst, the hands holding my face and laughing. Start with patience, believe me. Oh longing, believe in me the way starving forget-me-nots believe in sun and water, and be the question, beloved. Be question and the patience of searching, never finding answers, only longing after them. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Mad love.
Thanks, Roberto. Wonderful. Okay, so next we have Beja Wilson. And this is a piece from Beja's bio, which was really fascinating to me. She studied the intersection of psychogeography and poetry with Jenna Osman, culminating in a manuscript about her local Wegmans. And this is from her poem, Lightning Lessons. Lightning gives lessons on being small and destructible, lessons on I can protect you, and other ambitious lies. Beja.
Can you hear me? Okay, thanks for the introduction, E, and congratulations, Darla. Very good to be here. So I'm going to read from Lightning Lessons, which is the poem that E just excerpted from. Lightning Lessons. As a kid, I lay crumpled between the pointless bodies of my parents, watching the window, not watching the window. I still don't watch the window. I didn't need to see to know the sky was swallowed in metal, or the terrible drum of thunder that followed those silver fractures, thrashing through flinging rain, to decide the fate of power lines and roofs in electric rounds of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Lightning and its nitrogen is good for tomatoes and tiger lilies, but also splits homes and tree trunks. It infiltrates bodies. Lightning gives lessons on being small and destructible, lessons on I can protect you and other ambitious lies. So when thunder rattles my dog, his tags clattering and his body resisting the breakable embrace of my arms, I offer no words. I open the closet door and make space for our trembling. Okay, and then I have one more. It's a new one called Dream Life List. Bald eagles up close and my people not prey. Peregrine, falcon, cedar, waxwing, indigo, bunting, and my people unhunted, unhaunted. Our gladness measured in wingspans, alighting on everything despite everything. A mirth full of crows donning onyx, their choirs crooning with all their breath, my people breathing. Not us blood ruby-throated, just our own jeweled heart thrums humming about thickets of sweetness. So much a surplus and breathing. The only blade the sky's sharp blue clipped with swallows. America's gold fist of sunshine finally unfurling its fingers, the rays uncurling to caress gently our necks, in a court of sunflowers. America not robbing us of the egg blue promise, nestled in our chests' branches, my people breathing and a murmuration of starlings ascending, our awe hatching like a spell at the sight. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Veja. Okay, so next we have Mihaela Maskuliuk, and here's from an interview in Pleiades. I often write as a way of grappling with issues of uprootedness, belonging, in-betweenness. So in that sense, there is a certain immigrant universality to what I'm doing. On the other hand, I'm writing out of the fear of forgetting the particulars of my previous self, my culture, my life in Romania. So in that sense, I'm writing myself back into very specific and partially untranslatable landscape. And this is from her new collection, Cemetery Ink, from the poem Forget the Blossoms. Here's how I live. I scaffold, take in chaos, watch scaffold collapse, peek at stars, start again. Mihaela?
Thank you so much. So happy to be here and celebrate Darla's book. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Darla. And during the early stages of the pandemic, one of the self-assigned readings was Mosquito, A Human History of the Deadliest Predator. So you probably all know this, but only female mosquitoes drink our blood, and they do it because they need the blood to nourish their eggs. So this poem is for my stepdaughter Kiernan, but I would like to read it for Darla tonight, and in praise of the many kinds of nourishing Darla and Cleave have brought us. Mosquito. She will absorb blood 3 times her body weight, then land on the nearest post to extract and evacuate its water. Limber enough now for flight, she will rush the cold pressed juice to nourish her eggs. Forget the origin of blood. Focus on the mother, the serrated blades and syringes working concertedly like a team of eminent surgeons. Then the throb of panic when she senses she won't make it home. Intense labor and devotion undone with a casual swat. When I took you to pick a dress, but wouldn't buy you accessories for the wedding, your dad's and mine, you blurted, "You're not even my mother." You are a child, and I'd just stopped being one. Vacuumed, I'd reemerged as mother without child. Forget the origin of blood. I wouldn't have sacrificed nearly as much as a mosquito to nourish eggs. See them hatch. I didn't. But would sharpen every blade needed to protect you. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay. Up next, we have Michelle Greco. And in her Roaring Out podcast, she said, you need to have an audience in mind, and cultivating genuine relationships makes life more fun. This is from her poem, Intervention. My muse holds me hostage among painted skulls with flowers for eyes, glitter teeth, and the smell of freshly turned soil. The dead have made this dirt a dance floor. Michelle?
Thank you, E, and thank you, everyone. Just beautiful reading so far. And before I say congrats, I'm actually leaving the poem that I'm reading up to you, Darla. So put it, I guess, in the chat or unmute yourself, put 1 or 2. And that's what I'll do. That's what I will read. 2. Okay. Congratulations, dear. Goodness, I've known Darla for over a decade now and have seen and heard many versions of the poems in this book. And I'm just so happy to be here with all of you, with Darla, just celebrating her. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm going to read 2, and that poem is called, I guess it's meant to be, because I wasn't sure if I was going to read this poem, but this is also the poem that mentions Darla and also Betsy. So I guess it works out. It's called When I Draw My Childhood Bedroom. When I draw my childhood bedroom, I start with my bed by the window, the biggest landmark. Fill in the boxes and lines counterclockwise from there. Move to the hall, mark doorways. My best friend's wife is a cartographer who would have been much more precise, I bet, would have rulered lines, hatch-marked shadows, penciled dimensions in her efficient script. But she could not fill out the gaps between silences, could not tell you the plastic strawberry in the second closet held my aunt's toys, could not estimate the area of my aunt's syruped plates left by the bed when she moved back in after college, or the volume of my awe for her then. Once I moved back in, my great uncle's wife left him, and I was evicted again. And I just had to understand. I felt weird going in to get a toy or a book or underwear because the room was mine and otherwise occupied. I can tell you I've mostly forgiven my aunt for the dirty plates. I can tell you my great uncle died having sex. I can tell you that I still dream about this room and its watermelon flesh-colored carpet. Every time someone with a blurred face calls to me from the courtyard, it is night. I look out from my second-story picture window. Every time I jump. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now we are going to do a giveaway. So this is the contest moment of the evening. Everyone become excited. All right. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give a statement. And if that is true for you, you are going to type me in the chat. So the first thing that we are doing for our giveaway is a collection of items that I will curate for you and send to you. One of them will be this Mindfulness is Success pen, as well as some other things that might be relating to get in the mail. So, all right, wait for me to finish the statement. And then if it's true, you are going to type me in the chat. If you have a birthday in June, type me in the chat. Oh, it's David Cruz. Very nice. Congratulations, David. Okay, wonderful. So I'm just Darla's gonna actually write my email address. Well, you have it anyway, but Darla's gonna write my email address in the chat, and then you can send me your address and I will mail you that collection of items. Okay. So the next prize that we're going for is Darla's collection, Flesh Enough. It's the same deal. If this is true for you, you are going to type me in the chat, and the first person to do it will get the prize. This is subscribes to Darla's newsletter. Oh. I love it. Okay, it looks like Kara is the first person to write in. Congratulations, Kara. Yay. Please email me your address. And then our grand prize is a signed copy of Cleave. Okay, everybody get ready. So if you have met Darla and Betsy's daughter, Evelyn, or Darla's awesome mom, Barbara Ann, please write me in the chat. Oh, okay. Oh!
You have to rethink that.
Uh-oh. Okay. So who's the winner there? Darla?
Susan Messina.
Okay, Susan, excellent. Very nice. You can go ahead and email me your address, and then you will get the grand prize. Very nicely done. Everyone did an excellent and enthusiastic job with the giveaway. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the reading. Okay. So the next reader that we have is going to be Michael Waters. And in an interview from Monmouth University Magazine in 2017, Michael said, "For me, the line is the most important part of poetry." And from his poem, Luke, chapter 23, verse 41 in the Hopkins Review, he writes, "Where I swim, I choose shark, preferring the geometries of this world to the wavering shadows of the next." Let's welcome Michael.
Thank you. This is so great. I mean, to be here for Darla and to celebrate her book and to see all of you, so many of you whom I miss very much and would love to see and hug. And it's great to be part of this with so many friends and many of whom are poets whose work I admire. I'm going to read a poem for my daughter. It's a brand new poem. I hope some of you recognize this. It was patented by a woman named Tamima Edmark in 1991. Thank you. When my daughter was 3 years old, and she'll be 33 in a couple of weeks. If you were a young girl in the last 30 years, you may have made use of this Topsy tale. Or if you have a young daughter like Evelyn, you may make use of it now. So this is called Topsy Tale. Winter mornings, not fully risen, still hunched on the mattress's seamed edge. I am there again, slumped on a distant bed, woozy, dream deep in flannel pajamas, as you shuffle barefoot from your room, sleep flushed in a Rugrats nightgown. With the brush you've brought me, I stroke your hair, its lush tangle, static electricity leaping off each bristle, off fingers smoothing a wayward curl, a mini pageantry to ignite the day. I coax light from this celestial circuitry, the bedroom beginning to brighten until hair flows along your spine, then slip a band onto that sparkling column, sesame open the hair above, and with the cheap pink plastic dime store tool, loop your ponytail through that portal into this French style, sweeping your neck. I could almost weep at how little it takes to make you content. You race to the television full of cartoons this Saturday morning 30 years ago. I miss that light, that living Rothko radiance, though no such brilliance must still exist, must crackle when someone else who loves you gathers your hair in their gentle hands. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, that was wonderful. Next, we have David Cruz. And in a guest blog post on Trish Hopkinson's website, he wrote, "The lyric poem, one of my students recently remarked, is one of the few places we can speak without expecting reply." This is from his poem, This Song, in Cider Press Review. "Like the memory of the dead bird your father said was a sparrow, cupped in your tiny hands, and your mother said to drop it to the ground, and you did." Let's welcome David.
Hi, E. That's very kind, the introduction, and to be here with everyone. Darla, you look so happy. I couldn't, I'm so happy to share in this moment with you all. Darla's one of my oldest poetry friends. I've known her a very long time, and we used to laugh about how many workshops we had together at MFA, and years after we were sharing poems, and then we were getting involved in editing projects, Stillwater Review, and now Platform Review. And in all that time, I realized how much Darla's become a part of me. And it's not just her voice or her poetic sensibilities, but it's who she is as a person. A lot of my work these days on preservation and nonviolence, that comes from Darla. As you all know, she has a huge heart and she cares deeply about people and she cares about the living world. And I have to say, her presence in my life has made me a better human being. And Darla, I love you very much for that. I'm gonna read a poem from my manuscript Incantation. It's not a happy poem, so don't be lulled by the music. But I feel like even though this is a day of celebrating, Darla would want us to continue doing the good work. The poem is really, we're headed toward an extensive extinction event, and it's difficult to talk about. And so this poem, which I feel like has so much of Darla in it, her presence, I remember reading, just a note on it, I remember reading some research not long ago about how killer whales were pushing northward into Arctic waters because the ice was melting, climate change and all that. And they were killing narwhals at alarming rates. And killer whales are really intelligent. So they were like trapping narwhals in inlets and sounds. And this felt just very sad because it's just yet another example of this sort of chain reaction of events that we've set off as human beings, just with a sort of an assault on the planet. And it makes me sad, but with that said, I believe in poems, and I know Darla does too. So here is a poem that I'm dedicating to you, Darla, in my manuscript. It's titled To Dream Swim. She remembers swimming, and the sea was beside her, with a door where, when opened, ocean creatures could make their way in. They came, the orcas, circling around her, calm, quiet. Like a current, they moved slowly, as if dancing. Heartbeat fluttered to breath inside the chest, and she did not touch them, and they did not touch her. Narwhals are dying, songs in the ice, their tusks a myth. This is a very lovely night, Darla. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Keep forgetting that I'm supposed to MC and I get lost in what's happening. Thank you. Thank you for that. I thank everyone. Next we have Robin Becker, and this is from a question and answer at a reading at Boston College in March of 2014. And it's a really interesting question. She says, poets can ask themselves, how can we take the emotion that we want to work with and find the form that honors it? This is from the poem Post Time from the book Tiger Heron. He loved the last minute window, gamblers tense to place the last winning bet, and all the losing tickets he stepped on, walking to the boy who ran to get his car. Let's welcome Robin.
Thank you. First, Darla, like everybody else, I celebrate you. And I want to mention Maxine Cuman tonight. Michael and Mihaela also knew Maxine. Maybe other people did too. But I know that she would be so happy to be here and to see all of us and to celebrate you and to see your journey. And That's who Max was. And I love being able to conjure her tonight to join us here. This poem is called Theory, and it's from my book, The Black Bear Inside Me. As the animal returns on the beaten path to the den, we go back over the facts, certain we ignored clear signs. I left for Italy that summer, though she had quit her job and moved back home. I knew it signaled a bad turn, but chose the Tuscan love affair in the 17th century olive mill. We say we survive our sisters' suicides, meaning we stood with our parents at the unthinkable graves. In one theory, the troubled family sacrifices one member as plants surrender leaves in times of drought. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. So our last reader before Darla reads from her new collection is Jessie Montilla. And in a WMFA interview, she asked two interesting questions. Who would I be if I weren't born here? And how different would we be if all we knew was joy and we didn't know struggle? This is from her poem, Sappho in New York. I am falling in love all over the city, leaving peacock feathers completely abandoned on carousels. Please welcome Jessie.
Hi, everyone. It's really good to be here. Hello, Darla. You look gorgeous and very happy and ready to take on the world with your book. I think what I want to say to you briefly is that I feel like you and I have this like secret thing that we do, which is we may not be brave all the time in real life, but in our poems, we told each other we were going to be brave. So I appreciate that about you. I'm going to read a very short poem. Everything is crumbling. So I looked up my birth chart. I needed a reminder to why I always want to run away from stability. Being a Leo in sign and rising can't compete with my Gemini moon, how it becomes bored at the slightest sense of habitual dress up, how it fears being a fraud, and my Venus, how it resides in Cancer and its seventh house of perpetual falling, how I might die falling off cliffs, downstairs, in love, how if I look at someone and wish, be mine, what I mean is, tell me I'm worthy. How all I really want is to be a Pisces moon, like my mother, whose madness is a cursive M pinned to the soles of her feet. How she steps off chairs and buildings and trees and never falls. How she floats, a star dangling, a spore, an albatross strewing against a periwinkle blue. Love you, Darla.
Beautiful. Thank you. So huge thank you to Jessie. Thank you to all of our readers. Maybe we can all just clap or put the little emojis on, do a dance. Thank you so much for that. Very good. What we're going to do now is take a 5-minute break. And what you are going to do during this 5-minute break, if you are so inclined, is to go and get something to drink in a cup so that after Darla reads, oh, very good. Some of us are already prepared. Very excellent. That, oh, look at this. This is so good. So you can, go and get that if you need to. And then we will return. I'll do a brief introduction of Darla and then she will read from her book and then we will do the toast. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Very good. Okay. Oh, am I unmuted still? Good. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Darla very briefly so that we have time to hear from her wonderful book. So I just wanted to say that Darla and I wrote a paper together in college. We learned we had the same birthday, and then we became best friends for 16 years. And Darla wanted me to, to remember to mention that we are still best friends today. It's such a privilege and sort of such a wonderful aspect of my life to have Darla in it. So we mentor and support each other daily with our work. And I'm just so inspired by how brave Darla is and what a wonderful celebrator of others Darla is. She was so clear that she wanted to have a big cast of poets reading at this reading, and regretted that she couldn't even have more poets reading tonight. So, for those of us who are poets, we know what a labor of love a poetry collection it is, and how hard it is to create. Darla, for the purpose of making her work public, she learned how to write a newsletter. She worked for years and years on this manuscript. And she also, I was there for the moment when she decided that she was going to make trauma, the ideas around trauma, core to her manuscript. And that was a really brave decision, and one that I think we all can be really grateful for her, being able to speak that truth for all of us. And I also just want to appreciate Darla's family for showing up for her, to her readings, and just being such a wonderful and present part of her life. So thank you to Darla for your friendship and for your ability to show up again and again resiliently, to help others be resilient, and to continue to make poetry accessible and transformative. So we're going to hear from Darla now.
Thank you, E. Thank you, everybody. I didn't expect that I would be crying, but I didn't put too much mascara on because I'm really bad at wearing makeup, so I think it worked out for me. Thank you so much to everybody who's here. I'm so moved by the names, family, community, family of choice, family of origin, all together. Thank you. And thank you to each poet who read tonight. You each know how important you are to me. And it meant so much that you joined me tonight and shared your beautiful work with me and with all of us. I'm going to say a couple words about Cleave, and then I'm going to just read the poems for 16 and a half minutes, I think is what it is. The two dominant meanings of Cleave are like two rivers that go through the book in my mind. The hard meaning of tearing apart, of separation, violent severing is definitely in the book. The book deals with hard themes like domestic violence and family turbulence, and a father in and out of prison, sexual assault, and other violences encouraged and perpetuated by the patriarchy and the state. But the other meaning of Cleave, adhering to, joining to, in the biblical sense, holding close to, that devotion is there too, I hope, in each of the poems. And I just want to say that, like all of us, I grew up in a complicated home, and Cleave explores some of those complications, but also I learned so much about love and devotion in my childhood. And both of my parents actually taught me so much about passion, and how at its best, it's a consuming joy for life and for art and for people. And my mom in particular taught me so much about unwavering love and devotion within our family. And the way that she held me through all of these changes in our family and in my life is my strength. So I made notes because I knew I was going to have a hard time saying some of these things, but the intense love that moved between my family members, and especially my siblings and my mom, is what taught me when I met Betsy that I had met somebody who had the same capacity in her heart for deep love and for devotion, and that I would learn even more about love and devotion from her. And there's a beating heart in this manuscript that's about our love for each other, but also our shared devotion and love for social justice, for our right to build a family that we long to build, and just for this world and all of its creatures and life. So I'm so grateful to Roberto and to Get Fresh Books for giving Cleave a home. And I'm so grateful to each of you who are here for sharing space with me in this world and with this work. So now I'm gonna do what I do a little better, I hope, which is read some poems to you. The first poem in the book is called The Self in Transit. Oh, and this is Cleave, as you mostly probably know. Isn't she beautiful? The cover art is by Dawn Surratt. The Self in Transit. I turn, pretzeled with pillow, tray table rattling, the brass handle of a hardwood door, and open it between the eyes centered in the brain and the sun-bled orange behind drawn eyelids. Transparent, childhood's home thickens, solidifies, and my skirted self enters a mud-footed old-souled child, 1984. I proceed 10 parquet paces, kneel before the yellow wraparound couch where I peeled grapes beneath bloodlusty arrows they flung. I hum a little fiddler, a little Dayenu, and this, I swear, my chest pain sings the sprout of new ventricles, my nausea, the sudden flurry of irises blooming at every house I ever loved. And as I open my eyes' old windows, the flight lands like dust. The next two poems do address domestic violence. So if you're not in a place to hear that, you could turn down the volume for about 2 minutes and then come back and I'll still be here with you. This poem is called Clip. Darren, age 3, spins nickels on the parquet floor in big wobbly circles, as I, age 6, build castles out of Vanessa's baby bottles. Nickels flick from his fingers mechanically, their sound smothered under dad's curdled curses, mom's loud whispers, sudden screams. I turn finally from his nickels, my castle, find my mother crouched, head clutched, heaving, my father gripping a fist of her, now detached hair, a blonde nest he shakes, threat still streaming from his cracked voice. Turning back, I lunge to where Darren plunges a nickel into his wet mouth, face darkening to violet. Mom's shaking him upside down, dad slapping his back when the nickel tumbles through spit to the floor. The poem is called Goldfinch. A goldfinch bounds down to the concrete field, nosing florets, feeding on seeds, as I pace the cracked schoolyard track. Far away, metal gate, my mom leaps and blows kisses like a woman scissored out from a storybook. Black and gold jacket, cherry red nails, sky blue shadow. A woman once clobbered and cut in the kitchen of a house with not enough locks and too many windows. I still hear the shriek of glass and speak its broken language. She leaps, waves two-armed, and blows kisses. I wave back low, stomach level, wondering, is she crazy? My gaze blurring toward wings and ragged greenery beneath the schoolyard fence. Cheeks hot, belly shimmering from olive to gold. I am then feathery, limbs streaking ebony, new muscles tingling, impossibly floating toward the gate. The poem is called Pigs That Ran Straight Away into the Water, Triumph of. When Jesus casts demons into pigs, they leap from steep banks to sea. Some translations suggest lake. The water, salt or fresh, muffles a mania of snouts. The pigs drown. He is the Lord. I will never understand through human stories. In Kara's photograph, newborn piglets suckle a Vermont sow. The sow gives of her flesh in dappled sunlight. She is clean and wise and noble, and her baby's number 7, oh holy. No God would throw demons upon her. No God would send such beauty to drown. That Kara is the Kara Armstrong who is in our room here tonight. Next poem is called Burst. It first appeared in a wonderful journal, 5 a.m., that is no longer with us, but published some really fire work. I just called my own work fire. I didn't, what do you? Burst. Who wouldn't touch such sweetness? The bunched silk of hillocks, mountains, tangled threads of rivers, farms like woven potholders, scenes a body mid-air between homes could fall into. And the wings' seductions, how it begs me to break glass, climb onto its gleaming bed, beckon my lover, how we'd strip and allow the wind to vacuum the whole plain toward us. I'm a mouse with ginger ale and pen, strapped tightly in, but my inner hands twist 15 C's wavy hair, caress 8 D's bare infant head, unclasp my lover's bra, rip through denim, every finger a rosebud swollen. "5 a.m. also published this poem, which is my most irreverent. It's called God Dildo. I put you in when I want to. I grip you like a stick shift. I control my breathing. I plunge you in and rip you out like laundry in a bucket. You hide in the closet. You smell sweet like me. You pretend you love me, but I could never love you, oh phallus, oh needy, oh moody one. Tongueless, mindless, heartless, you're wholly plastic, wholly function. Do I praise that you don't abandon me, non-biodegradable imposter of a dick? I praise my lover inside me, rocking my hips with her nibbles and licks. So this poem is for Betsy, the lover and wife mentioned, called Prayer for a Marriage, and it's after the poet Steve Scafidi. When we are old, hunched and softened by time's loose fingers, may hunger throb its sore muscle a random Tuesday afternoon and keep us from dinner plans with friends. May day darken around our graze and grab happy hands, whose secret knowledge blushes us even then. May the rhinoceros in your pelvis bruise mine into sunset and our penguin fingers fly slick underwater. And may we kiss in the open street 3 hours late before swaying our wearied bodies to eat. How you all doing out there? Awesome. One of the weirdnesses of Zoom that I can't hear you, but I see your beautiful faces. A lot of us who are here tonight are missing our mentor and friend, Jean Valentine. And there's a poem in this book called Poem with First Line by Jean Valentine. A lot of us who were at Drew were given a prompt by Anne-Marie McCary to use the line, "I saw my soul become flesh," in a poem. And a lot of us in this room have poems with that line in it. I saw my soul become flesh. If you will allow that water spiders are more than crunch, fling, and whir, but bodies too, fleshy, the way they scoot with their whole hearts and splay in the contemplative pose of flying squirrels, calmly airborne between trees. Though this water spider was, of course, below the trees and amid the fallen trees, mostly oaks, flicking about on a pond too murky to swim in. And each of her legs, if you will allow her to be female, imprinted on the water's surface, tracing tiny O's where feet would be, and the O's were flickering with light from the late afternoon sun, flicking and flickering, my soul just then become flesh. One of the through lines in the book is about my journey with Betsy to try to conceive a child. I'm going to read a couple of poems that highlight some of that journey. This is called Conception Poem Spring. We sparked through windows, two-breasted bodies making love with syringes and welding gloves. Sweat glistened on Mama B's arms, and my belly free fell through the bed. Ovum, as you left the pod, my finger traced paths above. You bobbed in my narrows, waited for a swimmer to fuse with you. Early May, I held my arms for your imagined weight. Didn't know you had fallen, ghost speck in blood. Little blue. Rise up, little blue line, stop hiding. Drink my amber, little stick of maybe. Little blue, if you'll come, I'll praise and name you, little sign of mercy. Sort of masochistic thing that some people do when they're struggling to conceive is subscribe to pregnancy magazines. So this is a poem called Pregnancy Magazine Babies. Have you seen Glossy Dears, my daughter? She was sitting in my lap just yesterday, a sand-filled balloon. I scratched her head with feathery fingers, traced her secret name before she evaporated into milky breath. Faces, chocolate, carnelian, ivory, olive, show me my son, who shook my wrist as a cat swats string in moonlight. I followed him with heavy eyes, hypnotized by the muscle of his crawling. I kissed his almost invisible cheek, but like hair in the pond, he vanished. Which of you is my child? You, sleeping in some other woman's sling, have never known my breast. You, pawing the mobile in the yellow nursery, were not my little sandbag, were not my little cat. I will do whatever you say if you give me my child. I will nurse even if it hurts. I will stroller her around national parks. I will sing him love songs. I will carry a 7-inch knife. I will wear pink skirts, anything to bring her home, hear his laugh, feel her toes, let him break my heart. The Santa Monica Pier, May 2014. What is the sea, if not the swallower of my lovelorn father? Or so he threatened after noting his 67-year-old hands, hematoma beneath thin forearm skin, loose jowl, mourning for the 5th time that hour. A man can only take so much rejection. As if I too were not hypnotized by broken boats, drifting, abyssal, spears of light dulling in the depths. Each decade warps the wood pier further, brings forth another busker with a Whitman-esque beard. Beside us lie 6 silver fish, vacant-eyed, on a built-in table, 2 knives parallel to their stomachs, the fisherman washing his hands. I've never read this poem out loud, and it's partly because I don't know if I agree with myself that it's a poem, but I'm going to read it anyway. It's in this book of poems, so I guess I can now say that it's a poem. It also does deal with domestic violence, as a heads up. Among the things I haven't asked my father because I love him. 1, when the cat spun from arms to wall, did you speak to him like a person? Were you sorry? 2, how did it feel to dump your baby son through a front door? Did neighbors see you? Were cars driving by? 3, of all the punishments, why the family dogs? twice. 4. What was harder, being unwanted by your mother or disowning your daughter? 5. Did you pay someone to burn the house down? Did you make peace with the boulders you'd placed, the trim you'd painted? Did you remember that one winter day, that one winter hour, when the concrete was iced and I skated and you filmed, and just then, joy? 6. In prison, did they pummel you for kicks, kick you for giggles? 7. What was worse, laughter or tears? Right before you'd attack, I mean. 8. Did you suspect cops would come round up your stolen gifts? Did you know I'd hug that stereo mid-song? So adoring was I of this special present from my dad. 9. What made you love us with such radiant eyes? Who taught you to treasure us like that? What light do you hide inside you? And where does it go when it goes? 2 more poems. This poem is the oldest poem in the book. I wrote it 17 years ago in community college. My second time taking the same poetry workshop, the only one available to me at Santa Monica College with Mario Padilla. It's called At Framwell Gate Bridge, which is in Durham, England. Voices lap with the river, refining my city growl here as the weir gleams in sunset. Like his last letter, crumpled in my back pocket, my father wears away in his distance. My eyes follow wings that dart and spin above smaller wings. Father bird carries me to roofs and trees, lingers amid leaves, flapping without flying. His feathers float down like dropped promises. I came for this, to witness his set glare, his dive beneath the weir. This is not goodbye, but I release him as the ripples even. I'm going to read the last poem in the book. It's called Poem for Evelyn. It's in 8 parts. I'm going to sip something first. Poem for Evelyn. 1. Amid Brazilian samba drummers, Philadelphia airport, bodies, signs, stomps, shouts, you fleshed my voice from within. Say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here. Your family too escaped terror once, landed in New York and Texas, but your genes already know this, lime-sized fetus, translucent skin, nail buds just forming. 2. Your new voice warms this Philly treetop apartment while California burns. Wars abroad veer again into morose radio drone. 4 months old, anxious to stand, your feet cut air, will soon attract bees and butterflies and mosquitoes. Do you hear the racket? Drills, delivery trucks, leaf blowers growling. You giggle under then over the machinery, rattles fisted. 6. After the molester president won, I stripped anyway. Blue jeans crumpled, feet stirruped, doctorly small talk, some blooming flower painting eye level, reclined anyway, conceived you anyway, swayed the joyful nauseated hours for months, and we marched January raw, pink, your cells proliferating flesh all winter. 4. When cracks a gunshot at dusk, the mothers stiffen, skull to sacrum. Even when cops copter that way, downhill, our babies cradled here, we panic. Cherry blood spattering light post, were not you too, my child? 5. Will you captain the old schooner, celestial navigator, drop anchor over New York subway car reefs, housing sea bass, mussels, and mackerel, to check if green still blankets steel? Will you pilot a tanker hauling guns to be recycled into beams for schools, churches? Will you dive your someday middle-aged body toward other wreckages? child. When your body writes its poems, we, your mothers, we will sail with you. 6. And the mothers go back, go back. Mine shoulders the Pacific, corroding the underside of her house. Under her white living room, those dolphin dappled waters carve your 2 mothers out also, the swirling plastics, the Syrian boats. 7. Gather these oceans, sandpiper, bamboo coral, loggerhead anemone, right whale nursing her young. Gather icebergs, styrofoam crested waves. Gather dories and cruise ships, tugboats and schooners. Gather phytoplankton and seaweed ribboning across beaches, the last seals basking. Gather moon pull, tide lick, sunset blazing pastels that shush the sky. Gather the sky where it kisses your face. Gather your face where your mothers and theirs before kiss back through you. Gather the mothers through the air and we ocean you, and those you someday will birth too. 8. This late December day stretches pink to orange to cerulean blue. To think I opened my body for you just last summer, Evelyn. A push like 3 hurricanes, and then soft wet head, long arms across my bare chest, your lavender blue-gray eyes squinted. God, I said to you, take this breath and sing.
Congratulations, Dee. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and unmute everyone so that you can all
We'll do
applaud.
our toast. Yeah, let's applaud. We'll applaud and then do our toast. Applaud.
Everybody can go ahead and unmute, please.
Oh man. Woo.
Go ahead, Darla.
Fantastic. So beautiful, Darla.
Be on camera.
I love you.
Wonderful poem.
I hit my Himeles.
We love you.
Darla.
Love you too.
Yo, I just want to
Mad love.
I
Mad
read
love.
that poem along with you in the book. Because I absolutely love that poem. Absolutely love
Amazing
it.
poem. Amazing.
Poem to Evelyn is like the closest thing that comes to make me rethink wanting kids. Like that is. I still don't want them, but that is this close.
I was watching Mom's face while you said that, Vanessa. E, I know you wanted to do one more thing, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do the toast now. I compiled a toast poem.
Wow.
It's cento, made mostly of lines from Darla's poem. So I'm gonna read it, and if you have your glass ready, just at the very end, we'll do our toast. So,
Gee, do you want me to like mute everybody while you do this and then unmute again, or can we all be like, you know?
I think it's okay if it's okay. We can all be here and noisy.
Okay, cool.
It's okay.
Cool.
Yes. Okay.
And
okay.
I wanted to ask if some folks, like while we toast, if you could grab a screenshot of it, just so that I could have a memory of like a moment of us all on the screen.
Yes, please. Great.
And I'm clumsy at doing it myself, which is why I asked.
Okay. So this is called a toast. To ether, to split and sever, to the crumpling and uncrumpling duffel bags, to the nickel that tumbles through spit to the floor, goldfinch bounding home, to maybe what happens next, to newborn piglets, to Evelyn, this fig leaf, wait till you see the moon set over the cove, to the cobalt tarantula heart, every phantom glare of light, to a little sign of mercy, bird traps in jewelry boxes, to the late December day and this April evening, to the lily and the star, stories expanding and contracting, to everyone inside, to everyone here then, to everyone here now, to Darla and to Cleave. A toast to Cleave. Yay! Congratulations,
A
Darla.
toast to all of you.
Sure.
Congratulations, Darla. Cheers, l'chaim. etc. What else do we say?
Congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Hey, Mercy. Good to see you. Hey, Vanessa, Christmas.
Darla. Love you.
Love you all. Thank you so much for being
Incredible.
here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. If you, before on your way out, if you wanted to say anything special you want to say to Darla,
What is that?
or just, whatever, it's all very organic,
Can't we just stay and hang out and get to know each other for the next year?
I love you, Vanessa.
Sure.
Miles, did you want to say something? I heard you.
Hi, Miles.
Hey, Miles. That's my nephew, Miles, in LA with my sister-in-law, Atsuko. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Miles.
We should shout out to Anna and Melissa who have our little pea pod.
Yeah, our friends are having a dinner date with Evelyn so Betsy could be present because she never can for readings.
Betsy, hello.
Hi, Melissa.
I appreciate you all being here so much. If we were in person, I'd be giving you each a hug. So just know that I'm hugging you, and I love each of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Soon come, before we know it.
Yeah.
Before we know it,
company.
we'll all be together in real spaces soon.
Yes.
Thank you for writing the poems and bringing us here.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for hosting.
Thank you.
You did a tremendous job. That was
Thank you, E.
Thank you.
Thanks, E.
Thank you to all of our
Thank
invited
you, E.
poets and readers. Wonderful work, everyone. Beautiful to hear your poems and see your faces again. Congratulations again, Darla. Here we go. Right? Wow, right? It was like this, wasn't it? It was like boom, here we are.
Yeah.
Party.
Here we are.
Everybody, please have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. We're not out of the woods yet, okay? So please be careful and don't let
Thank
your
you.
guard down.
My turn.
Sending mad love and gratitude and appreciation. Thank you.
Be well, Roberto. Mad love.
Thank you.
Roberto,
Thank
good
you.
to
Hope
see
to
you.
see you.
Bad luck.
Thank you.
Roberto.
Bye. Bye.